Finland, 86 international appearance. As for the rest of the squad, 36 in total. Our third member of our commentary team is John Sutcliffe, and he's down on the field. John.
Fernando, Mexico's been looking for confidence all year long, and now they only have 14 days for the key match in Estadio Azteca against New Zealand. I've been told there's 7 players from America, plus Rafa Marquez and De Bros Peralta. They're proven players. He's not worried about them. It's more the sense of Luis Montes, Gulit Peña, Aldo de Nigris, players like that, Ciña, what they're going to end up calling back for the roster final against New Zealand.
As the game kicks off here in San Diego, Mexico with their one and only real test before they face off against New Zealand on that first leg on November 13th. They've played second division club Altamira last Thursday, beating them 4-0, but that's mostly a training session over 90 minutes for Miguel Herrera's side.
And Fernando, in seeing Finland tonight, the expectation is to see a team that is physical, strong, direct, good in the air. Perhaps a team that depends heavily on how organized they are behind the ball, looking to take advantage of a counterattack or a set piece. So in essence, by design or not, Finland would seem to be very similar to New Zealand. From that point of view, this matchup makes a lot of sense for Mexico, though I'm not certain that was intent when this game was put on the schedule. I don't know that the Mexican Federation deserves that much credit.
Of course, this game was on the schedule even before the last round of World Cup qualifiers, in which Mexico beat Panama at Estadio Azteca 2-1 and then went over to San Jose and lost against Costa Rica, but that same scoreline. Finland gets a slight possession taken over by Rafa Marquez, and Mexico on the side with Paul Aguilar. He is fouled. Valenzuela over to Massa Rodriguez. Miguel Ayun. The first time Miguel Herrera gets up off his bench. Herrera, former international with the Mexican national side, led Club America to a dramatic title in the last Clausura tournament in Liga MX. Only made possible by tonight's goalkeeper's goal in the last minute of the game, Moises Muñoz. That's how close they were to losing that final against Cruz Azul. Then that goal took him to extra time, and then in penalty kicks, Club America beat Cruz Azul. That's pretty much what got Miguel Herrera to be a favorite to become the head coach of the Mexican national side.
And what you're going to see from Miguel El Piojo Herrera is a guy that is certainly emotional, fiery, a departure from what Victor Manuel Vucetich is, which is a guy that is far more understanding of the players, more analytical.
Nice cross as the shot goes wayward by Paul Aguilar.
The strength of Miguel El Piojo Herrera is the emotions that he brings to his coaching and how he's able to communicate with the players and force them to also show those emotions on the field and translate those emotions into results.
Again, Herrera, the fourth man in charge in this 2013 for the Mexican national side. The long kick by Henry Silampa, goalkeeper who last played for the Finnish national team back in June of 2012. The Finland roster features 10 players from current Finland National League champions Hojiko from Helsinki. They are led by Miku Patalainen.
And right away you see the imprint of Miguel Herrera and Club America with this Mexican national team playing with a back three and then wingers on the left and right side.
Massa Rodriguez. As Peña plays it over to Luis Montes, or Medina, I should say, would be a throw-in for Finland. A team that finished third in the 5-team group in European World Cup qualifying, a group that included Spain and France. Spain, the group winners. France having to go through a playoff as well if they want to make it to the next World Cup. Now, anything that we have seen from Mexico over the course of 2013 is pretty much erased by the fact that now this team is made up of completely different players and plays in a completely different scheme.
Yeah, as I said earlier, you can see right away there is a back three. Rafa Marquez will play that stopper role, sort of a libero-type player.
There's Peña. The ball lands softly on Henry Silampa. Peña trying to hook up with Luis Montes. Ball played forward for Senelli. Trying to look for Michael Forcel and Robin Lod for the forwards tonight for the Finnish side. Sebastian Sorsa, the right back. An errant pass by Rasmus Schuller. Brought down, but nothing said by Chris Penso, the referee of tonight's match. MLS official who already has another game marked in his calendar. As he will referee playoff action in MLS in the New England Revolution Sporting Kansas City game.
And of a turnover by Finland. Mexico trying to get on the counterattack, and it's really a part of their game that they haven't been able to take advantage of. Creating turnovers in transition from other teams, and then from those turnovers, spring counterattacking opportunities that allows them to get in the final third.
Forcel brought down in the middle of the field by Senelli, Erfan Senelli, who's played a total of 17 minutes with the Finland national side in a course of 2 games against Slovenia and Spain. Another what looked to be a foul on Guilit Peña. The long ball looking for Paul Aguilar. Raul Jimenez tries to keep it in play. Will be a throw-in for Mexico. Layun. Miguel Layun having a tough year trying to establish himself as a starter with his team, then with the Mexican national side. Now having been coached by 3 different coaches. Coaches who have now asked him to do 3 different things on the field. How easy is it to adapt to a different playing style for a player, especially with the national side? Layun now comes back to the coach that coaches him at club level, though. Here he is again. And his cross goes far post. Not able to reach was Paul Aguilar.
And to your point, Fernando, a guy like Miguel Layun, who in the start of 2013 was very much a fringe player for the national team, as we see Layun's cross into the far post. He found a way into the national team because of his performances, and yet, as you very well said, it's difficult to stick if you don't know what your role is within the national team.
Tanska stepping in to garner that ball, then was Jarko Hurme. Silampa. Sebastian Sorsa trying to break free on the side. Mexico doing well in pressuring Finland. They know it's a team that has not played together. As we've said before, 4 players on this squad are making their first international appearance. Ranankari, Mattila, Sorsa making a run. Rasmus Schuller. Mattila. That is Moshtag Jagubi.
And it doesn't amount to much, but it was good spell of possession by Finland, showing some character and personality, playing out of the back, finding Jagubi in the middle of the field, and from there switching the point of attack.
Raúl Jiménez claimed that he was being held on by Jarkko Hurme. The first yellow card of the game goes for to the Finland center back.
And Raúl Jiménez does very well in showing for the ball, setting up Jarkko Hurme, and then trying to find that ball in behind. Hurme had to foul Raúl Jiménez. He had created separation, and the ball was already played into the space.
First goal against Altamira came off a corner kick. A header by Massa Rodriguez. Rafa Marquez goes into the box. Look for Massa Rodriguez, far post. Marquez! Goal! Mexico! They're up 1-0. The veteran Rafa Marquez.
And when you're a team that struggles to break down well-organized back lines and defensive posture, set pieces are one way that you can break through. Jarkko Hurme does not stay with Rafa Marquez. Rafa Marquez gets inside position, gets there before the goalkeeper, Silampa, and a simple finish. Good service by Luis Montes into the box.
The 13th goal in Rafa Marquez's career. Last one came back in 2011 in Gold Cup action against Costa Rica. Made a career out of anticipating in set pieces, particularly with FC Barcelona. And Rafa Marquez has Mexico up 1-0. The give and go by Paul Aguilar. Now it was Oribe Peralta giving it back. Finland trying to play it over to Robin Lod. Senelli goes down. Nothing on the call by referee Chris Penso. Massa Rodriguez. Layun trying to break free. It's Robin Lod. Cannot keep it in play. Will be a throw-in for Mexico. Let's go back to John Sutcliffe for more on Rafa Marquez.
Fernando, we've seen Rafa score key goals in the World Cup in Leipzig against Argentina, in South Africa against the host team. But the most important thing right now with Miguel Herrera, he's become the spokesman. He's the one that Miguel Herrera speaks to, how the team's feeling, how are the players feeling, because there wasn't a lot of communication with Chepo de la Torre especially. Now Rafa has become that leader, that sense. And one of the key things that Miguel, with not a lot of time to work with, is let's make a good atmosphere. Let's listen to the players, what they're feeling. So besides all the quality and the experience Rafa brings on the field, a lot of it also has to do outside of it.
Miguel Layun, opening play over for Paul Aguilar, near post Oribe. As Peralta's header goes out of bounds. Finland leaving a big gap on their left-hand side.
Confident play by Miguel Layun, cutting inside and finding Paulo Aguilar down the right-hand side. And good running to the near post by Oribe Peralta. Again, Layun coming inside, finding the switch to the point of attack. Finland leaving a lot of space on the left-hand side. Oribe Peralta getting in front of his marker. Very close to the second goal.
In comparing this team that we're seeing over the course of the 15 minutes of action, we can tell that this is not a team that wishes to keep possession of the ball. They want to create opportunities and be as vertical in play as they can.
And Mexico in 2013 has struggled with being vertical, has struggled with being direct. There's nothing wrong with holding on to the ball and having possession, but you have to thread in behind.
trying plays like this as they go far post. They're looking for Peña. Goes up top, but again, another shot out of bounds for Mexico, but they are creating chances going up the field.
And what we've seen from Mexico in 2013 is an inability to get runs out of the midfield, where now you have penetrating runs that go through lines. And when you go through lines, you force back lines to adjust. When back lines adjust, then space is open, and that's when it becomes easier to connect passes in the final third.
Anticipating Rafa Márquez. Looked like a foul by Yanni Tanska on Oribe Peralta. Seneli. Erfan Seneli. Sebastian Sorsa. Another errant pass, this time by Matila. Valenzuela. Aguilar. Long ball for Raúl Jiménez. Alongside Oribe Peralta, the two Mexican players with the most goals scored for club and country in 2013 as Carlos Peña rushes through. Long rebound taken by Miguel Layún. He wants to shoot. Layún wanted a shot on goal. It hit Matila. Rasmus Schuller now. Looking for Forsell. Cannot find him. The ball goes out of bounds. Going back to Rafa Márquez. He does bring leadership to the squad. And we saw that even with Miguel Vucetich on board in the last two games against Panama and Costa Rica. You could tell that Rafa Márquez had a voice.
Well, just his mere presence gives credibility to the Mexican national team, given his experience. But of course, in those games, he was also exposed for speed, and he was exposed on the turn. And so it's a guy that is limited now as to what he can do on the field, but does provide this team with experience and leadership off the field.
Sorsa. Jimenez. And I get tired of seeing that goal scored by Raúl Jimenez in the waning moments of that Panama game. Had games lasted 85 minutes for Panama, they would be on that plane going for a playoff against New Zealand.
When we were watching that game and Panama against the United States, where Mexico was, for all intents and purposes, out of the World Cup, and Panama just simply was not able to put the game away, did not handle the moments, the emotion, the prospects of going into the playoffs and perhaps going into the World Cup became all too big for Panama, and in the end they couldn't close out the 90 minutes. Or 90 minutes plus, I should say.
Trying to get another ball out of the field of play. To bring it back into play was Paul Aguilar. Up the middle for Medina. This is Maza Rodriguez. Layún. Peña asking for it, but Layún wants to cross it. Gets past Hurban. The shot goes over the crossbar. It's a right-footed shot by Luis Montes. Takes a slight deflection. Will be a corner kick for Mexico.
This is another aspect of Mexico's game that it hasn't been very good in 2013, and that is the early cross from the flanks. Yes, it takes a deflection, but you're forcing that deflection because you're playing the ball early enough to where now it's uncomfortable to defend for Finland.
Corner kick cleared away by Finland, but not out the box. Maza Rodriguez, slide shot for Oribe Peralta, trying to find a position. Gets beaten to that Peña. Seems Finland late reacting to most passes in the middle of the field. In terms of this being a whole different side for Finland, they are similar in that case to Mexico, as this team is made up of only home-based players. Miguel Layún, as this is not an official FIFA date, clubs are permitted to keep their internationals and not allow them to go into international friendlies. Montes, Jimenez. Ball played back by Paul Aguilar. Massa Rodriguez. It's only in this critical situation that clubs, and in particular Club America, has allowed for players to play for the national team with Mexico. There was a Liga MX match date yesterday for Club America. They lost to Tigres 1-0. Or I should say whatever is left of Club America, since most of that team is now donning the green and white of the Mexican national side. Crosses are something to pay attention to, mentioned Miguel Herrera, because out of crosses they can create chances, but also out of throw-ins from that area, as this field is extremely narrow.
Yeah, and it's very tight. We were down on the field earlier today. Certainly very tight, maybe about 69, 70 yards wide. It's going to keep the action very compact towards the middle of the field, so moving of the ball has got to be sharp and quick.
Peña trying to shoot. He was well met by Erfan Seneli. Massa Rodriguez. Layún. Medina, Peña. Trying to reconstruct from the back. It's Mexico with Marquez. Over to Valenzuela. He makes a run on the side as Paul Aguilar moves up to the middle of the field. Movements and coordinated movements that you only see on a team that has worked together for a long time, such as Club America has. One of the benefits, going back to your point earlier on in the broadcast, Peña, Peralta. Layún plays it over up the middle to Carlos Peña. Should we say Peña was one of the few to get a positive grade out of the last two games for Mexico? Peña again over to Montes. Peralta. Peña! Goal! Carlos El Gole Peña makes it 2-0 for Mexico.
Well, and you mentioned his name, and yes, he was one of the few highlights in the last few games for Mexico because of his willingness to get forward in the final third, to step into the 18-yard box, to take chances and take players on. Does very well in this particular play. Good interchange with Oribe Peralta. Turnover coming out of the back by Finland. Nice ball laid in by Oribe Peralta, right on the path of Carlos El Gole Peña.
We welcome our viewers on ESPN2. You're watching Mexican national team soccer as Mexico is up 2-0 on Finland in San Diego with Alejandro Moreno. Fernando Paloma with you. You just caught the back end of Carlos Peña's goal, the second for Mexico. For those of you watching on ESPN News, it's time for you now to switch over to ESPN2. Go to the Deuce as Mexico leads it 2-0. Now Finland trying to make something out of this. Rasmus Schuller cannot keep it in play. The frustration of Mikko Patalainen, the 46-year-old head coach of the Finland national team. He played 70 internationals for Finland, scoring 18 goals over a 20-year professional career. Rafa Marquez to Massa Rodriguez. Now Massa Rodriguez back for the first time since Confederations Cup action. He wasn't called up by Chepo de la Torre for the friendlies in August, for the World Cup qualifiers in September. Not in the lineup for those matches. Not called up by Victor Manuel Vucetich. Now he's back. What message is he bringing, Miguel Herrera?
Well, he's saying that he's going to bring his guys and the guys that he trusts. And obviously, Massa Rodriguez, a guy with tremendous experience with Club America, clearly gives this team, alongside Rafa Marquez, a sense of continuity and consistency in the back line. But the reason that Massa Rodriguez hadn't been called up is because, to be quite honest, he wasn't playing very well. And so it was at a moment where Mexico needed to answer some questions, and one of the questions was, will Massa Rodriguez be able to provide us with a performance day in and day out? And he hadn't been able to do that in 2013.
Now, what message is that bringing to those players that were with the Mexican national side? The likes of Corona being on the bench today, for example, over Moises Munoz, as Montes shoots over the crossbar. Now to our viewers on ESPN News, if you want to keep on watching this Mexican national team game against Finland, we'll invite you to switch it over to ESPN2. As Miguel Herrera is inviting his players to pressure Finland's attempt to bring the ball out of the backfield. Forsell brought down.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Tony, a Wisconsin middle schooler has worn his Aaron Rodgers jersey for 1,000 straight days.
Tony Kornheiser, a big deal. I've been rocking my Lynn Dickey thong since '76.
Whoa, it must be sort of threadbare at this point, huh?
It is indeed. It's hanging on by one little string. It's fairly scary. When you get up on the pole, it's particularly scary.
Oh, no.
And that's when you sometimes fall.
You really started to show off on a bad foot today. You really have.
Don't make me go there again. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Derrick Rose returns, Allen Iverson retires, and Tom Brady dresses up as the Cowardly Lion. But we begin today with what might be the last game of the World Series. Rookie sensation Michael Wacha will try and keep the Cardinals' hopes alive, while Boston, led by Babe Ruth Big Papi, will look to win its first World Series at home since 1918. Wilbon, who would you rather have on your side tonight, Wacha or Ortiz?
Well, it's not just Ortiz, and I'll take Ortiz. It's Ortiz, it's being in Fenway, it's all the feel-good and the magic around the Sox potentially winning a World Series at home for the first time since Moses. It's all those things, Tony. I think it's one of those nights. Look, Wacha has been extraordinary. Although he gave up 2 earned runs, it was behind in Fenway the last time he pitched against this team. I will say this, I just see this being 3 2/3 innings, and the Red Sox scoring 1,000,000 runs, and it's not. I just see a coronation, a big party, a big blowout. That's what I see for the Red Sox tonight.
Yeah, well, I would rather have Wacha on my side tonight. I'm going to tell you why. Because in the postseason, showing no nerves whatsoever, he's got a 4-0 record and an ERA of 1. That's right, 1. And by the way, if Mike Matheny has any brains, he doesn't have to pitch to Ortiz. Okay? He doesn't have to throw a good pitch to Ortiz. He can walk Ortiz all he wants. That actually hurts the Red Sox in some ways because he's a pachyderm on the base pass, and it's going to take 3 singles to get him in. I cannot believe that he would make Wacha throw a real pitch to him. I mean, I really want to see the first at bat to see if Wacha, comes at him and tries to get him.
Well, first of all, Tony, there's been no indication from Matheny that he is going to pitch or not pitch to him.
No,
okay?
I know. I don't get that.
The strongest suggestion is they might pitch around him. But I'm sorry, Were you listening to the part where I said Waka was behind in the game?
I heard you say that.
2 runs the last time he pitched in Fenway.
And he gave up the home run to Ortiz.
Do you not understand?
But did he lose the game? No, he did not lose the game. You would think that because he's a rookie, he's going to show nerves at some point.
I don't think so.
But to this point, he hasn't. And he's been a great pitcher, and Ortiz doesn't have to hurt you.
So
if you don't pitch to him.
I-95, which includes Boston, Greater Boston, you've got a Game 7? You got a Game 7 in the World Series on Halloween?
No, I don't, but I'm answering the specific question. Who do I want tonight? I want Waka to start.
What are you talking about here? Basketball, not baseball, dominated the stage last night, and the defending champions dominated the Bulls in Miami. Forget the Bulls' late comeback and the 12-point final margin. Miami was simply better, way better in every important category for 3 quarters. Derrick Rose was downright explosive in his return, but he was rusty too. Tony, did the Bulls give you any reason to believe they could actually challenge the Heat this season?
Not last night. I didn't see it. I mean, obviously, it all is going to depend on Derrick Rose and the state of his health and the state of his game, because last year without Derrick Rose, Bulls couldn't possibly beat Miami. But if this is the Derrick Rose you get, a guy who shoots 4 for 15, it's not going to be good enough. So, I mean, the answer to the question is not last night, but that's 1 game out of 82.
It's 1 game out of 82, but it's not about Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is going to be fine because physically he looked fine. Yeah, Derrick Rose has had 1 million games, including an MVP season, where he went 4 for 15. So that's not it. It's the Bulls' ability to score against Miami. They can score against the other teams, Tone. Their defense can generate enough turnovers to score against Miami with those big perimeter players, and the Bulls not having a secondary guy in the backcourt who can create and take some of that pressure off of Derrick Rose. When Miami comes to that high trap, they don't score enough. So that the Bulls are going to have to look for ways, and they got plenty of time to figure out if they can solve that part of what Miami does defensively.
They were up 9-2 last night, and by the end of the first half, with the score 54-33, it meant they were outscored 52-24 in not an ordinary game, Mike, in an important game, in a game that the NBA set up to basically say to the Chicago Bulls, we're going to stick this right in your face tonight. You're going to have to watch the championship ring ceremony. You guys think you're contenders. You're going to have that opportunity. And they got crushed last night. I actually think this is a good lesson for them down the road, because I suspect they went in there thinking the Heat's not that good. We're every bit as good as they are.
No, you're wrong. They didn't think that. They all know you have to go through the Miami Heat, and they said that going in. It wasn't an important game. It was not. The Bulls had not practiced together as a starting unit. Noah had been hurt. Heinrich coming off the bench had been hurt. They'd not been together. Miami simply said, we know what you're trying to do to us, and we're better.
And they crushed
Miami
them.
is better.
That's right.
But the Bulls did not go in there thinking what are you talking about? They lost to Miami in the playoffs.
You hear what they say all the time, that we are jealous of their rings, that we don't like them, that we welcome this opportunity. And given the opportunity, which the NBA set up, they got crushed.
They got beat.
The Los Angeles Lakers won the Battle of L.A. last night. They got an astonishing 76 points from their reserves, including all 41 of their fourth quarter points, to beat your Clippers, the presumptive NBA champions. Well, when the Lakers did this without Kobe Bryant, does this indicate to you that the Lakers will be better than we thought?
No. It doesn't indicate anything. I mean, it's the first night. I know if you're going to sit here and make grand declarations and bold proclamations about game 1 of the NBA season, that would make you the following: a dope. And I know when it comes to the NBA, you're not a dope because you've followed this league your whole life. So I know better. You're just trying to, put the needle out there. No. This was a great thing the Lakers did last night, Tone. But without Kobe Bryant, they're not going to be very good. By the way, did you know Jordan Farmar was back in a Laker uniform
Not till I saw it this
night?
morning. No, not till I saw it this morning.
Because this morning, wow, you must have been, I don't know what time zone you were in this morning watching the Lakers. But no, this was a great thing they did. The reserves coming in, scoring all 41 points in the fourth. It was a wonderful thing. No, they're not going to be very good without Kobe Bryant.
I want to talk to the Clippers for a second, because there are a lot of people out there. You have picked the Clippers to win in the West. There's a lot of
to get to the finals, conference finals.
Well, there's a lot of people out there who are sold on the Clippers. Doc Rivers has apparently looked at parade routes already. People need to remember something. You were attacking, and justifiably all year, the Washington Nationals for saying World Series are bust, and we're going to be great this year, even though they'd never been great before. The Clippers have been the worst organization in the history of pro sports in America. So if anybody on that team dares to think that they're going to walk their way into the Western Conference Finals or the NBA Finals or a championship. They better stop thinking that right now.
Well, Tony, look, here's what we have at the beginning of these seasons that is important, to go back to one of your earlier points. When you have expectations, it's a whole different ball game. Now, the Clippers have had some
scrubs
last year. Those guys took this seriously. Xavier Henry. I mean, when I looked at the Lakers last night, and they had a crazy run to come from down 6 to like up 17. You're like, so good golf clap for the Lakers.
Not in the league.
Let's not have the Lakers in the conference finals either.
I'm not doing that. No, I'm talking to the Clippers.
I know this.
And expectations and puffing out your chest to think, oh, we're pretty good. Well, let's see.
Allen Iverson, name we haven't